Hey guys, I want to talk a little bit about dealing with a weapon on a person and the weapon hasn't been deployed yet. So there's a big difference. If that weapon is out in their space, it's really, really difficult to deal with. And honestly, for my perspective, the best thing to do in that situation, if you can, is just run away. If I'm in clinch range, however, I don't have the option of just, because he's too close. So if he pulls this weapon out and I let him get it out, then this becomes a real problem. It's a lot more difficult to deal with that. So what I'd like to do is deal with that before the weapon comes out. So why am I here? That's a whole other video. I don't know. I shouldn't be here. If this guy's being aggressive, I should have probably created a little bit of distance and avoid the possibility that he either pulls something and stabs me or he just hits me, because I'm very vulnerable in this range. Nonetheless, here I am. If I'm not in a pummeling situation, again, if I'm not starting out here really locked in already, but I'm here and I'm in his center line and I see that hand go to a weapon, let's go for the lowest hanging fruit. Things don't have to be complex to be effective, right? So the first thing that I want to do is I just want to keep him from drawing this weapon. If he's going for the weapon, he's weapon fixated, meaning he's really not paying attention to other things. What are these other things? His face is completely exposed. So if I lock this down for a minute, I can rear back and throw a hard punch. I can rear back and throw a hard elbow. So just doing that, here, punch, I can disengage, and if I happen to carry a weapon, I pull mine. Or run away. Running away, not a bad option if I can do that, if I don't have family or someone that I'm protecting, or if it's not my job to disarm him and control this person. I'm just dealing with my own personal defense. So that's the first one. Again, I'm going to keep him from pulling that weapon. I can throw a knee, I can throw a punch, keeping him from drawing this, and when I feel that I'm ready, I can disengage. Now, let's say I can't disengage. I'm still probably going to do that first. I'm going to keep him from drawing. I'm going to throw something just to soften him up. Now, what I'm going to do, if I need to control this person, again, I'm in this center line, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run an underhook on this side. So this free hand, I ride in, and I'm going to put my two hands on his one, and again, really preventing him from drawing this. I'm controlling this hand. I'm keeping him from accessing the weapon, transferring the weapon with this hand simply because I've got this underhook on him. Now from here, I would prefer to get my head in the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a little bit of an opening here, and then dive in and take his back this way. Now we're going to talk in a moment about how taking him down and then disarming. But for now, let's just talk again. Here, I might punch, I'm going to drive this, get him over here, and again, I have the option of disengaging. Guess what I can do? Push him away, and I'm gone. There's no reason to make it any more complicated or dangerous. The longer I stay in that situation, the more exposed I am for him countering something that I'm doing, and now there's a weapon involved, guys. So I really want to take the lowest hanging fruit, and sometimes the best options are the simplest options. So try to put it in there. I'm going to reach and I'm going to strip it down and reach around for this 2-on-1. I'm going to put pressure on this shoulder, head position on the inside, and I get this angle. I want to make sure my hips are facing this way, his hips are facing that way. So this is an important angle to have. And if he's trying to turn into me, I'm going to just keep spinning him this way. There are multiple ways that I can take him to the ground, and we'll talk about that next. All right, guys, I want to go over some more options of controlling someone that is trying to deploy a weapon. That weapon could be a knife, it could be a gun. And again, very important to understand, I can't allow him to pull that weapon. If it's a knife and he pulls it out and I haven't controlled it, it's very hard for me to get control on this. He's not going to let me just grab this. He's going to be doing slashing motions, driving motions. It's very, very difficult to control, and the likelihood of me being cut or stabbed before I gain control is pretty high. So if it hasn't come out yet, perfect. It's easy for me now to just get my both hands. I'm going to get this grip on this hand. I'm going to drive it in here. Now, remember we talked about going from here and driving, getting a cross body lock. Well, there are some times where it could be that maybe I'm more structured this way. So I'm not here, and it's really unreasonable for me to try to go all the way around the body. He's not going to let me do that. So the other option, again, is going to be I'm going to bear down on this. Now, as I bear down on it, I'm going to headbutt him and put my head in this little pocket. You see that a lot in wrestling. But I'm not just going to position my head there. I'm going to headbutt him if I can. So as I grab here, I drive into here. Now look at where my hips are back. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this arm out. Now whether this knife comes out or not, it doesn't matter. But again, that's the force that I'm going to utilize. I should have softened him up a little bit. Boom, pull it out. And then I'm going to go for a 2-on-1. If this happens, that's a bonus, right? All right, guys, let's continue this conversation. And once we get this cross body 2-on-1, whether my head is in the front or my head is in the back, and I prefer the head in the back, we'll talk about why the head might be in the front and how to adjust for that. It's really not very complicated. But again, remember, I was able to get cross body on this. This could have happened, again, from him just reaching, and I'm not in any kind of pummeling situation. I can hit him, grab, get this cross body that we talked about. Or it could have been that we're in a fight, we're clinching, whether I'm here or here, but from this pummel or whatever, in a clinch, I see that hand going to his center line or to his shorts, right? You need to, this should be a red flag immediately. Even if I don't see anything, I'm going to assume he's trying to draw a weapon. So again, from here, I already have this underhook on my right side, so I'm going to pin this hand to his body. He's giving me the pin, and now I'm going to angle out to the side, take my head to the back, right? So now, once I have this control, 2-on-1, and what's really great about this is that now I have his body in between the weapon. So even if he were to like switch his hands or whatever, which we can expand on that a little bit, but I'm going to move quickly to keep him from doing that. So again, look, I'm taking 2-on-1, and instead of just going here, I'm going to go 2-on-1. I'm going to find his hand. This is going to minimize his ability to transfer something from one hand to the other. So I'm going to just pin this hand over here, and my hand is going to be tight on his back so that it keeps him, even if this hand got loose, he can't elbow me or whatnot. But anyway, this is the position that I'm going to be in. My hips are going to be low. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to step to this side. I'm going to take my right leg, it's my right leg now, and I'm going to violently step in the corner here. So now look, my hips are low, and I've stepped, I've got him, again, this angle, hips low, full control on this hand. Now what I need to do is I'm going to get him to the ground. Two ways of taking him to the ground. One way is to spike his head into the ground as hard as I can. That's good because nothing hits harder than the earth. It's bad because if I don't execute it correctly and I let go of him, he can access that weapon. So again, my preference is probably going to be to follow him to the ground. So that said, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just make him a little bit lighter on his feet by driving my hips into him here. Look, and I'm pinching here, and now all I'm going to do is just drive him to the ground and follow him. Okay? Now, I have him on the ground. From here, what I need to do is keep him from building this base. There's a couple of ways I can approach it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left knee and I'm going to block his hip over here and I'm going to sprawl out here. So I'm putting a lot of weight on him and I'm pulling this arm. If I really feel him starting to kind of try to build the base here, build the base and stand up, I can't let this happen. So go back. So if he does that, there's a couple of things I can do. One, as he builds, I can reach over here, pull him and spike his head into the ground. Second thing that I can do, as he starts building up, I'm going to grab his leg and then just pull him hard here, and I'm going to put pressure on him here some more. Keep him from building that base. Now from here, guys, keeping pressure on his shoulders. I'm going to take my right knee and I'm going to kind of block this arm, keeping pressure, being aware that he's not building his base again. If he tries to build his base again, I continue to not let him have it. Now I'm going to take my this hand, outside hand, and I'm going to let go because I'm going to reach out to this side. Now this is a little bit of a vulnerable position because again, I don't have as much control of him here, but I still have pretty good control and I kind of have a lock on his shoulder. So from here, again, I'm pushing down. Look how I'm pushing down on his shoulders to keep him from building that base. And I'm going to kind of half switch my hips a little bit here. And I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on this arm. I'm pulling on this arm. So I have him here, knees pinned. Now I'm going to go pull, pull, pull. Now whatever I have here, I've got this lock. Now I can start bringing this knee up here. And I can control by breaking this shoulder and taking the weapon. Let's talk about some possibilities from here. So again, he's going to pull. I'm squared up or I'm in a pummel where I have access to my to this underhook. So if I have access and I can run this underhook and come around the corner again, I'm going to control him this way. Now, before he didn't really try to do anything with this arm, but maybe this guy knows a little bit. He's gonna keep me from running my head around to the back. So he's gonna whizzer my arm really hard. So go whizzer over here. So now, again, the takedown changes a little bit. But not much, guys. It really doesn't change by much. All I can do from here is lift him, and I can actually drive him to the, no, I'm driving the wrong way. I'm going to drive him back way. So from here, again, I'm going to lift him, and I'm just going to run him to the ground here. Yeah? Now, the difference is, again, I don't have him flat. I've got him over here. It doesn't really matter. I can drive him, run him over here, flatten him out, flatten him out, flatten him out. Then we go back to the same thing we did before. So the only difference is if my head is on the front, my takedown. I'm not going to run him forward. I'm just going to run him backwards. Guys, I've been teaching self-defense for 25 years. If self-defense is something that intimidates you, you don't know where to start, go to getselfdefense.com.